Today we're driving the 2021 Jaguar XF P300 R-Dynamic all-wheel drive SE. How do they come up with all these names? We're going to take you on a test drive of this today, show you what it looks like inside and out, give a little bit of a POV walk around, and hopefully give you guys an idea of what this Jaguar XF is like to drive. For the 2021 model year, Jag has simplified their XF lineup. We have a 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. This one is all-wheel drive. That makes 296 horsepower, and that's mated to an 8-speed ZF automatic transmission. The rear-wheel drive XF only makes 246 horsepower. This XF starts at $50,000, or just shy of. It's spec'd up to about 60 grand with some options. I'll list all that stuff in the description. So pretty nice place to be. We've got a fully digital gauge cluster and these buttons that kind of illuminate on the steering wheel. They look like they're haptic touch buttons, but they actually press in. And you do have to give the controls in this XF a little bit of a purposeful press. It's a little bit more pressure than you would think sometimes. So you have to adapt and adjust to that when you first get in the car. But once you do, you kind of get your muscle memory learned to what it takes to press things in, and it's a relatively intuitive layout once you get used to it. Again, a little bit of a learning curve. Here's the climate control down here. You've got this funky little knob that you can pull out to adjust the fan speed on, kind of nifty, or push in to adjust your heated seat controls. We have wireless charging down here, wireless Apple CarPlay, a drive selector dial down here for inclement weather, eco, comfort, or dynamic. And that drive selector button presses in or comes out, which is kind of neat. You get your shifter down here for the 8-speed automatic. It feels a little bit funny in hand. It has a release button at the front of the shifter, so you push it forward to go in reverse, back to go into drive, back again to go into sport mode. Press the P button to park. Parking brake will automatically come on too when you hit that. Engine stop start, volume control, nice little cup holders, and a small little space here to put your mobile device. You've got a USB Type A and USB-C port in there. We have a digital rear view mirror, which I've quite liked using this week, and sunroof, a rear window shade. That's fancy. Let's head outside and show you what the exterior of this XF looks like. This design hasn't changed in quite a while. Still a good looking, nicely proportioned sedan. We have larger 20-inch wheels on this XF today. I like the grille. Still just a classic design from Jaguar. Automatically lifting tailgate. A good amount of trunk space back here, very long trunk space with folding rear seats. You can pull those with these 2 yellow tabs right here. And check this out, Jag gives us a spare tire. And I don't know, maybe I'm in the minority here, but I feel like Jag gives some of the coolest spare tires to its cars. They're bright orange. They let you know that this is a space saver spare. You've either hit something or run over a nail, and your other tires are getting repaired. Trunk seems to open and close pretty quickly. Let's take a look at the back seat. I'm 5'10", seated behind myself. I've got a decent amount of legroom back here. These headrests fold down to give you a little bit better visibility, and they fold down on the way so that a passenger cannot sit in the rear seat and have them folded down and be comfortable, so you kind of have to lift them up for safety reasons, which is nice. Little space here, rubber lined place to put a mobile device or what have you. A couple USB-C ports, an armrest, and some cup holders with some more storage back here. Nice looking interior. I feel comfortable, not too claustrophobic back here. Pretty easy to get in and out of too. Ingress and egress are nice. Shall we take a look under the hood? There we are, 2-liter turbo, 296 horsepower, rated for 25 miles to the gallon combined. Pretty smooth engine, pretty torquey, mates really well with this ZF 8-speed automatic. Takes 0 W20 oil, and I assume premium gasoline. Premium fuel gasoline is recommended, but not required. There you go. All right, let's take this Jag XF for a drive and see how it does on the road. Show you what the reverse camera looks like here. We've got a nice 360 view, rotating lines showing your trajectory, and it even shows the wheels there. You can see a bunch of different camera views just by selecting the angle, and you can kind of get this neat view around the car. Pretty neat. All right, let's head off. This 8-speed ZF is super smooth, as you would expect. It's interesting how this has kind of become the industry standard transmission for all European sports sedans, and actually a lot of other cars too. It is just such a great gearbox. Pretty responsive on downshifts, even in normal mode. Can we have fun with some paddle shifters? I think we have to put it in sport. Let's throw us into dynamic. The drive modes shift pretty quickly. This XF makes a little bit more noise in dynamic mode. Ooh, and it will bounce off the rev limiter in sport. I have really nice visibility. This front windshield has a heating element in it, so you can defrost it almost instantly in the wintertime. Fantastic for this time of year. There's stop-start engaging here at this light. I let off the brake. Turns on pretty quickly. A little bit of a noise in there, but not too bad. We'll put us into sport mode here and set off, see what type of acceleration we can get out of this XF. Definitely feels like a 300 horsepower turbo 4-cylinder. Not a ton of character from this powertrain. Nothing like the old V6 or V8s used to be like. But there's plenty of power here. All of my inputs feel pretty nice though. Brake pedal is firm. Steering is nice and light at low speeds, but weights up beautifully once you get going. I do like the way the steering wheel looks. In hand, it can be a little bit large feeling sometimes, but you do have a lot of adjustability with this drive position. Telescoping and tilting motor in there. This rim isn't too thick, feels pretty good in hand at 9 3. Armrests fall pretty well to both sides of the car, between the center console and this door armrest. We've got a little bit of soft padding here too, which is nice. Pretty comfortable seats too. I like the Jaguar emblem in the headrest. Let's throw us into dynamic here one more time, and we will take this entrance ramp, see what type of traction we have around some corners. Pretty neutral handling. Really nice grip from the front end. Also, when we go into dynamic mode, we get a little RPM display on the head-up display. The CF 8-speed really does a nice job utilizing the torque from this 2-liter turbo. There's a surprising amount of grip from the front end around a corner in this XF. A little bit of safe understeer, but surprising chassis control for the sports sedan. It's got a little bit of a personality around the corners, which is a bit of a surprise. I like it. Pretty quiet at speed on the highway too. Not a lot of wind, road, or tire noise. Cruise control is very easy to set. All you have to do is press up to set your speed. You can choose between adaptive cruise and a speed limiter. Pressing this button right here. Lane keep is pretty much just kind of a reminder. It'll bounce you back and forth between the lines, but it won't really keep you centered or navigate around corners. You also have a heated steering wheel control right here under the cruise control settings. You can skip 5-mile-an-hour increments by holding up on this button right here, but it takes a little bit longer than it does in some other cars. Take this entrance ramp in sport transmission mode. Paddle shifters seem pretty good. A little bit lazy for a ZF 8-speed, but suits the character of the car. You can hold the right paddle to shift back into drive. Pretty impressive chassis control at the limit in this XF. This is a really nicely tuned suspension setup. Once you get going, once you get some speed under the wheels, it rides pretty well too without being floaty. And for the handling, the athleticism that this XF exhibits, it's a pretty good chassis. I'm impressed. Let down a little bit by the characterlessness of this 4-cylinder, but otherwise, from a handling perspective, this car drives great. It's interesting seeing that because this isn't necessarily a vehicle that encourages you to drive quickly or encourages you to drive fast. It's a little more of a relaxing experience behind the wheel. But take this thing around a couple corners and it will definitely impress you. This would be a lot of fun to drive on a back road. Alright guys, well I think that's going to sum up our thoughts on this Jaguar XF P300 R-Dynamic all-wheel drive SE. A nice overall car. I think it does a good job delivering a comfortable, luxurious driving experience. Kind of surprised on how well this handles. It has ample acceleration and torque, and mated with the ZF 8-speed, it's actually a pretty nice powertrain, but there really isn't a lot of fun sauce here to be had. Otherwise, though, I think this is a nice option, a nice alternative to the standard issue BMW 3 Series and Audis that a lot of people buy from the European brands. If you want a Jag, this XF is still a decent car, and with this refreshed, updated interior, it's a pretty nice place to be too. We've got a good integration of technology. I do really like this touchscreen. It's responsive, it's pretty well laid out and simplified, and having Apple CarPlay as a wireless option is great too. I'm not sure if this has wireless Android Auto. Probably does, but I can't remember on the spec sheet if it's edited or not. I assume it does. Alright guys, well those are going to wrap up my thoughts on the Jaguar XF. I think, let's walk you around this real quick one more time, and we'll go and do a little sound system test with this Meridain premium audio. It's only a $600 option, and it's a fantastic sound system. I'm really quite impressed with this for a $50,000, $60,000 sports sedan. Put it in the park, parking brake automatically engages. Easy to press the stop-start button. You have to go hunting around over here for it. It's all right there in front of you. Those are pretty thin sidewalls on these 20-inch wheels. If you live in an area with lots of potholes and rough roads, I would definitely swing for a smaller wheel size or get your wheel and tire insurance. They do look good on the car though. All right, let's hop in and do a quick sound system test here. I do like how quickly everything starts right up in this Jag. We have volume controls on the steering wheel with the slider right here, and a volume selector down here. You can choose between tracks right here on the steering wheel or on the screen, and then pressing this diamond will mute the audio. Sounds fantastic. I'm a really big fan of this Meridain premium audio. For an extra $600, it's definitely an option I would check in any Jaguar product. So anyway guys, that'll wrap up the review. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this gave you an idea of what this XF is like to drive. Bit of a shame they've gotten rid of some of the other engine variants in the lineup, but in terms of simplification, costs, all that stuff, this is what they had to do. So hopefully we'll see some more exciting powertrains from Jag in the future. But for now, this is what we've got. It's a pretty decent overall car. I think this is still a nice option in the market if you want something just a little bit different. So anyway guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.